Hey you, welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
I'm wife.
And together we're reading the Bible.
Starting with Genesis and eventually ending with Revelations, we're working through every book and offering our atheist 2 cents.
Or shekels.
Yeah, those. We're asking questions and pointing out all the nonsense.
We aren't academics or scholars.
Nope. In fact, when it comes to religion, we really don't know anything at all.
What we've learned so far is that God's a dick.
Oh, he really is, isn't he? If you're interested in how we reached this startling conclusion, maybe start from episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in anywhere. It's all good.
Yep.
Hey wife, we just got a new sponsor. It's Anchor. They must think we're doing something right because they picked us back up.
That's amazing! Want to hear something even more amazing?
Yeah?
I actually know what they are.
You are full of shit. I'm calling your bluff. Tell me about Anchor.
Okay, so Anchor by Spotify is the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place.
I'm actually surprised you knew that, but did you also know that Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer?
Yes, because I see you do that on your phone all the time and it looks pretty simple.
It really is, and when hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
But I use CastBox.
Yeah, darling, I know you like CastBox. It gets distributed there too, and lots of other platforms as well.
And how much are we paying for this awesome service?
Absolutely nothing.
Coolio! So then we should tell people to download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started?
Yep, do it now.
Hey, husband.
Hey, wife.
We are doing a Q&A.
Yes, we are.
And it is over Numbers chapters 1 and 2.
That is correct.
Okay.
All right.
That is the thing that we are doing now.
Let's go do it.
Do.
Hey, wife.
Yes, husband.
Did you know that we are now on Patreon?
Yes, because you told me, but also, no, tell me more.
So we're on Patreon now.
Are we?
We are, and our supporters can go there and support us, and we have multiple levels all the way up to You Killed God.
That sounds really drastic and escalated quickly-ish.
Well, no, there's multiple levels before there, so it escalates on a sliding scale of, cheap to not cheap.
Oh.
But, we can definitely use any amount, so, any support is always appreciated.
So what exactly is Patreon?
It's a place where you can show your support for our podcast. And
just our podcast?
Any podcast or any performer. But, we're the ones that, you're listening to right now. So maybe you should, support us. That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. But we love you anyway.
So all you got to do is go to Patreon, look up Sacrilegious Discourse. It's actually patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse is our actual main page there. So head on over and send us some love.
Yeah. Hey, so, we didn't really have specific questions that I recall.
No, because it was a lot of numbers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Being numbers, it was numbery.
Right, it was very numbery.
But I did pick up a few notes I thought I'd share, just for notey notes' sake.
Yeah, I read a few things myself just to make sure we had some stuff to talk about.
Oh.
Because it was so
boring,
dry and boring. I felt like I better do a little bit of research just in case.
Just in case I came up short?
Yeah.
Oh, Faith and your wife, eh?
Well, we are doing this podcast at, what time is it? Yeah.
20 till midnight, the night before it's due to come out.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Okay. Just thought I'd point that out.
Okay, so anyways, carrying on. First of all, I thought this was interesting. So Exodus, was about them leaving Egypt, right?
Yes.
And so that book covered an entire year. Did you know that?
Of the 40 years?
No, just before they even left, it covered 1 year. Period.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was a year.
Got it.
That book covered
So
a year.
the plagues and all that stuff, that was 1 year?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Leviticus, which was about all the rules and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay, that whole book only covered a month.
Oh.
Yeah. Interesting, right?
Well, it kind of ties into what I read, and that's that, Mount Sinai, I thought this whole time was in Israel. But apparently it's not.
Oh, where is
They're
it?
actually in the desert.
Oh.
And they're making their trip to Israel.
Oh, yeah.
So,
that I knew.
that kind of explains why they were building up the numbers and stuff.
Yeah.
They're marching to their promised land.
Got it. So, the book of Numbers, it takes more than 38 years.
Well,
that whole book covers 38 years.
It's the trip.
Right. But I thought that was interesting that, each of these books, you can't compare one to another. They're so, nothing about them is the same.
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically, I just wanted to clarify something. You know how the other day when I told you that it was a 5-day and something trip or whatever?
Yeah.
Well, then I said 8 hours before that. That was the drive time. When I changed it to walking time, it is 5 days and some amount of hours to get to Israel from Cairo, Egypt.
But it took them 40 years.
40 years.
That is a long
I'm really
time.
kind of interested what the hell happened for 38 years.
I could tell you a little bit about the why.
Okay.
Or why it's postulated that this happened.
Because the Israelites were assholes and God hated them?
Yeah, well, I mean, we talked about that before in one of our Q&As that, God kept punishing them and, they kept breaking rules, so God kept, steering them wrong.
It's just, that's a lot of punishment.
That is a lot of punishment. But here's another reason that I found interesting. When they left Egypt, they left as slaves, right?
Right.
And they were beaten down people. They had been for generations. And they had everything chosen for them and demanded of them, right?
Sure.
So basically they were weak-ish, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when they left, part of the reason that God, hypothetically, wanted them to travel across the desert was in order to become his chosen people. So, yes, they were his chosen people, but he wanted them to strengthen themselves to bear that title.
I see. So the task itself was part of becoming the chosen people.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Got it.
So I thought that was an interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah.
It's kind of the every bad thing that happens to you was meant to be.
Yeah, I'm still looking at the 5 days and then the 40 years, and I'm thinking
that's just bad math.
That's a lot of bad.
Yeah, exactly. Here's another interesting little tidbit I picked up.
Okay.
In Hebrew, the book of Numbers is not called the book of Numbers.
I saw this too.
It's called In the Wilderness.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that is pretty cool, actually.
That makes total sense.
Right, I like that better because I honestly didn't like the numbers.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't need numbers.
Yeah, numbers are boring.
But I did read something else.
What is that?
And that was, so I was looking at this from the perspective of somebody that was, believes in God and whatever. And so part of the numbers aspect of it is planning, right? They're planning.
Yeah.
And so they were saying that the act of planning shows that you are doing your best for God.
Right.
You are doing God's work by planning and making sure that this is going to work out.
Yeah, I read that too, that it was a show of faith.
Yeah.
That they were setting forth together in an organized fashion and putting their plan into action.
Right.
Which,
It would take a lot of fucking faith for me to stay in the desert for 40 fucking years when it was a 5-day trip.
I mean, honestly, 2 weeks and I'm out.
No shit. I'm like, which way's Cairo?
So, that's basically what I found. That was pretty much it.
I mean, I didn't really find any. I think there's going to be more. Obviously, this is the trip from Egypt to Israel.
I know. It's just that, I feel like we've been here forever.
But they've got troops. There's got to be some, fights and shit.
Well, yeah, that's part of it, is that this is going to be a battle. They aren't just, walking and then they get there. Part of the reason that God wants them to number themselves, in addition to what you said about organizing and acting on faith,
right,
is that they are preparing for the battle that this is going to be in order to strengthen themselves to earn the title of God's chosen people. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a fight. The end.
I am Israel.
I thought you were going to say
Sparta.
That's awesome. You're not Sparta.
No, I know.
And you're not Israel either.
No, definitely not.
You're just husband.
I felt like with, 600,000 troops walking 5 days, that's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people.
And apparently one of them, no, what was it? 10 of them could take on 10,000?
Oh, something like that.
So like 600,000, if we did the math, it's got to be like, they could take on like 6 billion.
Whatever.
I'm just saying, like, that's kind of the math they were going by there.
In
so,
which
like,
case,
they could
bother?
basically, those 600,000 Israelites could have pretty much beat the entire population of the earth right now.
And that's why I'm like, whatever, why bother? Like, okay, Superman.
I might not be doing exact math good here, but whatever the number is, it's a ridiculous amount.
It's the DC phenomenon.
The DC phenomenon?
Yeah, characters from DC are so fucking miraculous and angelic and perfect. And
what about Batman?
Flawless. The only reason that he's awesome, the reason that he is awesome is that he's not like a magical guy.
All right.
But they make him kind of magically with his tool belt has every single thing you can ever think of on it.
It's because he's awesome and he's a millionaire.
Is there a baby crying? Hold on. Batman's got a bottle.
I mean, he's Batman and he's a millionaire.
He does have nipples in his suit. Have you seen?
What are you saying? He's gonna milk the baby?
Hell yeah!
Oh my god!
I'm just
that would
saying.
be a really interesting like fan fiction thing.
I'm just saying, like in the whole Marvel versus DC phenomenon,
right?
Like that's a thing, and the reason that Marvel always wins is because their heroes are flawed. They are not heroes just like they woke up and were like all American awesome.
Right. Except for maybe like almost Captain America.
But even he
I said almost.
Right. So, no.
Right, I gotcha.
He's a good guy, but he has his flaws. And, he went against things and did stuff. And he wasn't all good.
Join us next week for our start of our comic book series.
Oh my god. No, that is incorrect. That is incorrect. I love Batman, but otherwise I'm pretty much a Marvel girl.
Right. I was kind of joking because you were just like stuff and things. And, it was like, you were by far the comic book person here. So
that's sad.
I'll praise that. But yeah, whatever. I was just joking.
I mean, really, my favorite comics are Saga, and
we're getting into this then, huh?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
If you have not read Saga, you need to because it is the best comic that ever existed ever.
I'm kind of out of this conversation because A, it's 10 till midnight, and B, I don't even know anything about Saga.
Okay, well, if you would just read it, you would just love it.
I'm sure you're probably right.
It's the best.
I'll look it up sometime.
Like, everybody talks about The Walking Dead and how awesome The Walking Dead is, and then it became a show, and everybody's like, yeah, it's great, it's wonderful, but I'm here to tell you that Saga takes Walking Dead and mops the floor with it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
The end.
That it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so we're wrapping up here then, huh?
Sure.
All right. Well, we're going to be back on Thursday with our newest episode of Numbers 3 and 4.
Chapters 3 and 4.
So we will see you guys then.
All right. Bye.
So that ends this week's Q&A.
If you have questions, answers, or comments, please email them to us by next Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern, to be included in next Tuesday's Q&A episode.
Awesome. See ya.
Bye.